I'm going to teach you how to make grandma cookies tonight, and we're going to start with putting the dry ingredients together first. I like to get everything ready to go so that when we start assembling the cookie dough, it moves smoothly. Also makes it easier to clean up, I think, in the long run. The recipe calls for 5 cups plus 2 cups of flour, and it does say sifted in the original recipe, but I don't sift. I just kind of do this in the flour bin and make sure my flour is not at all packed whenever I'm starting to measure. And this is kind of a messy recipe. Your kitchen is going to get kind of messy with flour just about everywhere you go. It kind of goes with the territory. Sweeper works well afterwards. That's 2 cups now. Here comes our 3rd cup. And the oven is preheating and everything else is out and ready to go. That's 3. When I started getting everything together to make cookies this year, I think I bought about 20 pounds of flour. That's ridiculous. That's 4. And here is 5. The 2 additional cups of flour I'll use when we start to roll the cookies out. So I will stop there with that and add the other dry ingredients. And I need a teaspoon of nutmeg. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. And it doesn't fit in there. So, hey, you know, it's Christmas. What the heck? So here's 1/2 of a teaspoon. Here's another 1/2 of a teaspoon. One time I made these without putting any nutmeg in, and that was a very boring cookie. All right, and baking powder, I need 1 teaspoon of that as well. Also, when you're using baking powder and baking soda, and this is with any kind of baking that you're going to be doing, it's helpful to have fresh baking powder and baking soda. You'll see later on, if we don't have fresh baking powder or baking soda, the buttermilk won't rise like it's supposed to. You'll understand that in a minute. I need 1 teaspoon of salt. We don't really need that much because you just put a little bit in. It makes the flavors brighter. And we need, I think that's it for the dry stuff. I'm going to measure out my Crisco. I know a lot of you hate Crisco, but for this cookie, it really works well. So I need 3/4 of a cup, and I'll check my markings. The markings are located on the side of the package, just like they are with butter. And I will, if I can, get that out of there and throw this into the mixer, because we're going to treat this. This is like butter. This is our butter, essentially, for this recipe. And we're going to put that in there. Throw that away. And I will add our sugar to that, and we will cream the sugar with this shortening. So we need 1.5 cups of white sugar. And oh well. And here's my 1/2 cup measure. There we go. 1/2 cup of white. Now that's all the white sugar that we need. Then we'll move on to the brown sugar, and you should pack that in there. And sometimes you get in the brown sugar, there'll be clumps of, you can see like the syrup that is in there, you know, that gives it the brown color, and it'll be a clump of that. You want to try and work that into the sugar, or just kind of pick it out of it, because it has a tendency to stay like that, and you'll have a big lump of brown sugar in your cookie. So here comes the rest of this, and you really do want to pack this in. kind of a messy cook when it comes to this kind of baking. All right, there's 1 cup there. All right, there we go. Very good. I've locked my bowl in place. I'm going to lock the machine, and I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to essentially cream the shortening and the sugars together. I was also just wondering, can I get the wine out yet? Maybe when I get a little closer to being done, I'll get the wine. While that's creaming, I'm going to remove 3 eggs from the fridge. And then I will be adding those eggs. And I've gotten burned once or twice in my life with cracking an egg, and the egg was bad. So I generally will crack my eggs into another dish and then add them to the whatever I'm fixing, because I don't want to take a chance on ruining my stuff. Okay, in go the eggs. I've checked and they're fine. Lock the mixer and let those go. You do need to scrape down several times during the preparation. Scrape the sides of the bowl. So it's really coming together nicely here. So I'm going to stop here, scrape the sides down, and that looks great. I'm going to add my vanilla. I believe that is 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And here we go. And you know, when you use your vanilla, don't you hate it when you go to open the vanilla and you cannot open the lid? Well, that's because you didn't clean the lid before you put it back the last time. So I'm kind of anal about that. I'm going to blend the vanilla in, and I'm going to get ready for the next part of the recipe. And this is the fun part. This is where everything starts to get good. So I really like this part. All right, now I'm going to get ready to blend the buttermilk and the flour and dry ingredients together. But first, we're going to do a little high school science. And this is the fun part of the recipe. We are going to take 1 cup of, and I use full fat buttermilk because it just tastes better when you're making a cookie. We're going to use 1 cup of this. And to this, we are going to add 1 heaping teaspoon of baking soda to here. And this is where the high school science comes in. Okay, who remembers their high school chemistry? You girls ought to remember. You know who I'm talking about. You should remember. And then I'm just going to blend this together. And if my baking powder or soda is old, we'll find out right now. And I'll have to start all over again. But what's going to happen, I know that the baking soda is activating the buttermilk because the baking soda is rising. So the volume is now increased in this cup, and it will increase to about 2 cups total. There you go, high school science at work. All right, now I'm going to add the flour and the buttermilk alternately to the sugar mixture that's in the bowl already. So I will just take a little bit there and a little bit there. Lock. I usually need to start slow so the flour doesn't go everywhere like it just did. And then just Blend it all nicely. You'll have to scrape the sides down again eventually on this. This dough is becoming very, very thick at this point. The dough eventually almost has the consistency of kind of like a thin clay dough almost. It's a heavy, heavy dough that's moldable. Once I add this flour into this bowl, I'm going to switch the paddle for the dough hook to add the 2 additional cups of flour. It's just easier. Can you imagine our grandmother or your great-grandmothers making this? And they did this by hand for the most part. They used a wooden spoon. No wonder they had good arms. Maybe I should use the wooden spoon more, huh? Who knows? All right. There we go. Maybe the arms, the wooden spoon and having to work that in offsets the use of, what do you call it, Crisco. But see, this is very thick now. Just trying to take this paddle off a little bit here and scrape the sides down as well as I can, because I'm gonna change this now, and I'm gonna change to the dough hook. Just a little bit easier. It's easier on me. So here's the dough hook going on and secured, and the next thing I'll do is add that 2 additional cups of flour. Man. I need another knife. This is just a whole darn lot of flour in this cookie. That's 1. Next time I won't wear black. Here's 2. Alright. Now we will gently fold this in. I think an angel got its wings. Sounded like a bell to me. This dough is pretty much set right now, so I'm going to take this dough hook off and try and get as much of that dough back into the bowl there. Usually I have someone here who is very willing to eat the raw cookie dough. I know you're not supposed to. I've been doing it for years. I'm alive and well, but I won't say what anybody else should do. Then I'll clean my hands up a little bit here, and I'm going to get out the fabric that I used to roll the dough on. I love this. I got this out of my grandma's house after she passed away. So this piece of fabric is very old, and I use it for rolling out cookie dough. I use it for rolling out pie dough. It's frayed and very much a mess, but I really think it works way better than flouring a counter or using parchment paper or wax paper, because that all slides around. This pretty much stays put, and the beauty of it is go outside, shake it out, get the excess flour out, throw it in your washing machine, and you're done. So I have that right here, and you can tell that this is indeed very old and frayed, and this was in Margaret's kitchen, so I was able to get it and bring it home. I'm going to leave that flour here, you're going to need that to flour up this board. I'm going to take the dough, put it over there. I'm done with the mixer for now, so I can get that out of my way. Now I think I'm really allowed to have some wine. All right, now I'm gonna roll the cookie dough out. I want you to really see how stiff this is. This is really, really stiff, and it is hard. I'm not a wuss, not really, and it is hard for me to do that. Now, since that is obviously very, very sticky, I'm gonna flour my board here. It's not really a board, I call it a board, but I'm gonna flour that and just scoop that out onto there. And again, this is very sticky, so I'm going to also flour my hands and gently, I always pat them out. I don't roll them out. You can, but to me this is just easier. You may need to add a little additional flour. I would just be careful with adding the flour so you don't add too much more, but you are going to need to add flour or you'll never be able to get these patted out and rolled out. And the dough should be about a half an inch to a quarter of an inch thick. And you can use shaped cookie cutters if you want, but I've always just used a juice glass. And I dunk it in the flour and then cut my cookies with that. And this is why this is so messy, because I dunk this in there, you know. So tomorrow I'll be cleaning the kitchen. Oh well, it's Christmas. All right, now I'm going to take a spatula, a sharp spatula, and lay the cookies out on my cookie sheet and bake them. Not too difficult at this point to do, just about, you know, an inch or so in between. I try and get some of that flour off of there that is on the cookie. You can also wipe that off as the cookies come out of the oven as well. All right, I'm going to put these into the oven now. I'm going to bake them at 350 for about 11 to 12 minutes. And you know, you have to check your own oven. Some ovens are a little hotter than others. They might need a little less time, a little more time, but you really don't want to overcook these at all or they will not be tasty. And in they go. Set my timer. And we're good to go. We will wait now. All right, now I'm going to get this dough. I'm going to incorporate this that I had rolled out for that first batch of cookies into the dough for the next batch of cookies. And the cookies are ready to come out of the oven, so I'm going to get those now. I do want to tell you that I use aluminum because I think that if you use a dark pan, frequently that leads to burning. So you want to use a light colored pan when you're baking cookies. And these look perfect. All right, I'm going to take the cookies off of this sheet and allow them to cool on a towel on the counter here. Some cookie recipes you can get away with letting the cookie cool on the sheet, but the sheet is hot and it's going to continue to make your cookie cook. So I take it off of there and let it really thoroughly cool up here without cooking the bottom and maybe coming up with a bottom that's a little bit more crisp than you would like. This should be a soft cookie that has the texture of almost like a bread or a tea cake. You know, it's not light at all. It's a heavier thing. But anyways, and then I will clean my cookie sheet like this, and then this will be ready to use and to go again. Hey everyone, I really enjoyed showing you how to make these grandma cookies tonight, but I really did have a mission. These are a special cookie that has been special in our family for a long time. And for a very long time, I've been the only person who could make the cookies. And I'm starting to get just a little burned out on these cookies. So I want this next generation to feel good and comfortable making these cookies. So this is why we made the video. So Ashley, Amber, Abby, Caitlin, and even you, Nicholas, you can learn too. And PJ and Dan, I want you guys to all learn how to make these cookies. And so your kids will love them whenever you grow up, or not when you grow up, but when you have children, when you get married. I want this all passed on, and it will be a good thing, and you'll be happy that you know how to make these cookies. Merry Christmas from your crazy Aunt Nancy.